ESPN Mel Kiper warned the NFL about Shedeur Sanders. It was a declaration that rang out across draft rooms and fan forums. A lone, passionate voice challenging the entire evaluation process. Kiper, a man who has defined the pre-draft landscape for decades, didn't just suggest Shedeur Sanders was good. He put his reputation on the line, proclaiming he was the best quarterback in his entire class, and asserting that teams ignoring him were making a catastrophic mistake that would come back to haunt them. The league was warned. They doubted. They passed. And now, the stunning, undeniable proof has arrived. The debut of Shedeur Sanders as the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback was far more than a single game. It was the ultimate moment of vindication. Stepping onto the field and leading his team to a decisive victory, Sanders immediately erased a decades-long losing streak for rookie Browns quarterbacks.
Shedeur Sanders finally got to start an NFL game. The entire world wants to know what Mel Kiper thought. It is no secret, Mel. You were a believer in Shedeur. You never stopped feeling that way. Now he is 1-0, the first Cleveland Browns quarterback to start 1-0 in this millennium. What was your reaction, first and foremost, Mel, to Shedeur's start?
Happy for him, for the Cleveland Browns, and obviously the defense. Myles Garrett's ready to set the NFL record. They couldn't block him. There's three things. Talk about, in baseball, what did they say at Bull Durham? You remember, Granny. What do you throw the ball? Yeah, hit the ball, you catch the ball and all that. And in football, it's really very simple, right? It's BTC, blocking, tackling, and concentration. That's what I say, blocking, tackling, and concentration. And to me, when you think about this game, they couldn't block him. You can't beat him if you can't block him. But in terms of Shedeur, the operations for a young quarterback, when you see quarterbacks running up, clapping, and then the time's ticking down, and you got to delay a game, or you got to take a timeout, or you end up the game with one timeout left or no timeouts left.
He showcased the poise, the precision, and the surgical accuracy that Kiper had championed from the start, operating with a veteran's command after just 3 days of first-team practice. This is the story of a dramatic, high-stakes warning that was ignored, only to be validated in the most spectacular fashion. The debate is over. The prophecy has been fulfilled. The rise of Shedeur Sanders is now official, and the organizations that passed on him have officially been served notice. To truly appreciate the significance of this moment, we must rewind the clock to the often chaotic days leading up to the draft. Mel Kiper Jr., a man synonymous with draft analysis, found himself increasingly isolated on the issue of Shedeur Sanders. While the overall quarterback consensus was fragmented, with various names being tossed around for the first-round slots, for Kiper, the true answer was clear and singular. He tirelessly championed Sanders' cause, positioning him ahead of several passers who were receiving far more buzz and were widely projected for higher draft capital. The weight of expectation on Sanders' first NFL start was immense. He was being thrown into a difficult situation, inheriting a struggling team mid-season. Yet, as Kiper later detailed in his comprehensive post-game analysis, what stood out immediately was not any single spectacular highlight, but the quiet, unflappable command of the game's most intricate operational elements.
The operations weren't good. He looks a little confused out there. He looks like a deer in headlights. I never saw that. I didn't see it against Baltimore when he was getting hit the whole second half. So I think the poise, the confidence, by playing in a lot of games in college, both at Jackson State and at Colorado, has helped him. And certainly, I think when you think about the plays that he made down the field, we talk about accuracy with him. That was the thing about him. He's so accurate. He can be a surgeon. If you just give him a fortress in front of him, give him some time, he can be a surgeon. And some of the throws he made, and he only had the one sack where he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't an 8, 9, 10-yard loss. It was 2 yards. And he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. He got the ball out. He showed touch. When he had to let it rip, he did. He had the one bad throw when the linebacker sunk in the hook zone, and he picked it off. Okay, that happens. Baker had a bad pick against the Bills and turned that game a couple weeks ago. It all happens. They're going to learn from mistakes. In order to get better, you got to make mistakes, and you learn from those mistakes.
These experiences, the analyst argued, provided the crucial psychological foundation for a seamless, mature transition to the demanding speed of the professional game. The most enthusiastic praise, however, was reserved for the one trait Kiper had championed from the beginning: his accuracy. Sanders' surgical precision was on full display. Kiper described him as a surgeon, emphasizing that when provided with a clean pocket and the crucial time to operate, his throws were precise, disciplined, and unerring. Crucially, the analysis noted how adept Sanders was at minimizing negative outcomes. Even on the single sack he took, he demonstrated an innate understanding of situational football by scrambling back to ensure the loss was limited to a negligible 2 yards, rather than a catastrophic drop. Amidst the celebratory atmosphere of a rookie quarterback earning a significant victory, a sharp and frustrating point of contention arose involving the coaching staff. Strong frustration was expressed over the decision by the head coach not to present the game ball to Shedeur Sanders in the locker room. Instead, the honor went to defensive star Myles Garrett. While Garrett's contributions are invaluable and undeniable, the sentiment was that this was a colossal error in judgment and a missed opportunity for the coach to recognize a truly historic and motivating moment. The facts surrounding the win are too significant to ignore. Prior to Sanders, the Browns had not had a rookie quarterback win his first career start since 1995. That astounding statistic alone underscores the rarity and significance of the accomplishment.
Things happen, the organization and whatever, we won't get into that, but I never go into anything overconfident, where it's a game. When my high school Calvert Hall, when we were winning championship, I didn't go into any of those games like, oh, we're going to win this game, or I go in nervous about every game and about every player I like. I will never, Josh Allen, same way, never going to ever do, never will you ever see me do a victory.
The dust has fully settled on Shedeur Sanders' sensational and historic debut, and the message is resounding. A star has arrived, and the future of the franchise has been radically, irrevocably redefined. Mel Kiper Jr.'s warning, once dismissed by a skeptical league, has become the foundational truth of the season. Sanders is proving to be everything he was advertised as: poised, accurate, a meticulous operator, and a natural leader capable of efficiently commanding an NFL offense. The critical next step for the organization is twofold and requires unwavering focus: commitment and construction. They must fully and unequivocally commit to Sanders as their franchise quarterback and abandon any notion of looking elsewhere or trying to revert to past habits. Second, they must strategically construct the infrastructure around him. This involves immediate and substantial investment in the offensive line to provide the fortress Kiper spoke of, and acquiring dynamic wide receivers who can maximize Sanders' surgical accuracy and playmaking ability. Perhaps most urgently, the team must address the philosophical disconnect that appears to exist within the coaching ranks. Sanders deserves a head coach and offensive coordinator who will fully support his growth, build an offensive system perfectly tailored to his unique strengths, and provide the environment for true championship contention.